so happy you're here. I know it took a lot to get you here. There's a lot of back and forth, but you're here now.
Yeah.
So go ahead, introduce yourself to the camera.
What's up, everybody? My name is KIIRA HARPER. I'm an alumnus of Hampton University, graduating class of 2011. My major was public relations with a minor in leadership studies, and now I don't use my degree at all.
All right, and where are you from?
I'm from Long Island, New York, but now I live in Los Angeles, California.
All right, cool. So this is my homie, my little sister, and this is a documentary on This Is Why, a historical reflection of college life outside the classroom. Me and KIIRA met in pre-college, so we've known each other for a very long time now.
Yeah.
Been through a lot of stuff, watched her grow to what she is today. So let's just talk about what was your decision and what made you decide to go to a HBCU in Hampton?
Well, I grew up in, my parents were always putting me in predominantly white schools just because they always said, you have to learn to be well-rounded and learn to live around people who don't look like you. I went to a predominantly white Catholic high school where I was maybe one of 200 black people in a 2,600 person school. And I always knew that I wanted to know what being black really was like. So I went to a, I forget what you call it, like one of those, like kind of like a go-see on Hampton.
Okay.
And I got an invitation to come in for a weekend. I think it was like a leadership weekend or something like that. And I went and I just fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with just being with people, and then I had an interview at the last day, and what happened was they gave me on-site admission right then and there. And I hated the whole registering for school process, the applications and everything like that. So when I got accepted to Hampton, I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing anymore. I want to be here. I love the way I felt when I was there. And from then on, November 2006, I was already committed to Hampton University.
Cool. All right. So moving forward, you decided to go to pre-college.
Yeah.
All right. I remember seeing you at a talent show, and
oh my God, the one where I tapped.
Yeah. And I was like, we gotta get her. We gotta get her on the team. I see something in this girl. So that's when I went out and found out you was from New York. So then from there, you jumped on the team.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about, I guess, what you remember your experiences were with New Face.
I just remember New Face for me was, I don't remember a lot of the details, but I remember how I felt.
Right.
And one of the main things was I felt like it was a place where I felt comfortable, in a place where I was uncomfortable.
Right.
So being at Hampton, surrounded by so many black people, I was off rip. It was culture shock for me, and I was uncomfortable, and I was trying to leave within the first 4 months. So, but New Face for me was like, no, you're okay, you're good, and it helped me kind of transition into the Hamptonian lifestyle.
Right.
Just being around people that kind of were just accepting for who you were and just wanted to have a great time with you and didn't want to see you fail. I think that's what kind of, it saved me. New Face kind of saved me from leaving, But yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you basically answered my question. The next one I was going to ask you, what does New Face, what do you think New Face would do for somebody who has issues, staying in school and stuff like that? But you've been in this situation, so.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to leave. I was like, I'm going home. I don't care. But just being around people that kind of understand where you come from and understand that, everybody is different, but you can still be accepted, kind of helped me feel a little bit more comfortable just being there. I think comfortability, especially for someone in college, is very important. But also understanding that there's still magic in being uncomfortable as well, because that's where you grow the most. So I think New Face helped me realize too that, it's okay for you to be uncomfortable. So I was comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yeah. And we're talking about somebody who saying she's uncomfortable, but yet was very outgoing and was very popular, and everybody kind of gravitated toward her, especially within her classes. So her class at the time. But you were very popular, if you don't remember.
It's so funny because I did not feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel like people just knew who I was because I was the girl that tapped, and I was the girl that danced and didn't care, and didn't care what anyone thought of that part of my life. Like I knew that I was a dancer, and that was the one thing I was absolutely sure of. So I didn't care about not sharing that. I wanted to share that because that's where I felt safe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think when you are so unapologetically okay with who you are, and in any aspect of who you are, people gravitate toward that because that's something that they want to find in themselves. You know what I'm saying? But as far as popularity, I never actually felt like I was somebody who was like part of a clique. Like I knew people everywhere, but I was never stationary.
Right.
You know? So maybe I don't know.
Right. And so speaking of other people that I'm sure you come across a lot of people like over the years, and their different experiences in college. What do you think how yours compared as far as like getting to know different people from different areas, but we're all African American, being at the HBCU. Do you think that they had different experiences from you? Or?
You mean their experiences with me?
No, not with you. Like let's say someone who may have went to a PWI or something that wasn't a school that wasn't like Hampton, where you got it's all African Americans, but from different areas, like not as opposed to, let's say we went to school in New York, like Hofstra, where everybody would pretty much have been from New York. You had the opportunity to go to school away. Yeah. And getting that experience of meeting people in other areas.
I mean, I think going to an HBCU is a gift, but I also think going to an HBCU can become a crutch. It's a gift because you learn about who you are, and you learn about where you come from people who know your lifestyle, who know your fight throughout life. And they try to teach you how to act accordingly in the world beyond the little home that you have at your HBCU. But I also think that there's an importance to going to other schools, PWIs, only because sometimes you don't need to be told what to do. Sometimes you need to live it so that you know exactly what to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So I think it is important to go to an HBCU or to experience the culture, but I also think it's necessary to understand that that's not the end all be all. So for me, I'm glad that I went to an HBCU because my entire life has been PWIs. So for me, it was scary because being from a PWI lifestyle, I always knew that I was different, but my parents always made sure to instill in me, like, you are a black girl, you cannot act this way, it's not acceptable. And I always thought there was just either people that acted like that, and then you have, people from the South who are just country, everybody's just country. And then I got to Hampton, and some of those people with those country accents were the smartest people in the room, and that was really hard for me to grasp, only because, like, you have all these stereotypes, you don't realize what type of stereotypes you have to get to a place with people who look just like you. Then I realized I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how black I was till I got to Hampton too. I mean, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but that's my experience. I think it's important to go, but I also think on the other side of learning who you are, you have to learn who you have to be. And the best way is to get the experience around these people that don't look like us as well. So I think,
what made you decide to go to LA? What was that? How did that happen?
I didn't decide to go to LA.
Okay.
LA picked me. I came out 2 years ago in 2016 to assist one of my mentors on a job. The job ended up not happening, but we were already in LA. So the job fell through. It was me, the other assistant, and my mentor. And she was like, listen, y'all need to just try and make it. It was always my goal to be bi-coastal. It had never occurred to me that I wanted to live in LA.
Okay.
Meaning that I was born here. I was born in Woodland Hills. I lived here for like the first 5 years of my life. So I have family here and I know this place, but I never thought I was going to come back. Okay. I had always thought I was going to live in New York, live in Manhattan, and make it work that way. I came to LA, the job fell through. I said, okay, well, I have an opportunity to become bi-coastal. One of the things that they said to us was, your agency is not going to sign you bi-coastally unless you're in LA for 3 months. I was like, if anybody knows me, you know I don't follow rules. I was like, 3 months, I can do it in 3 days. So on the third day, I found out that they were having an audition, and I crashed the audition with my agency resume with their logo on top already. And they saw it, and they were like, oh, I got signed that evening. I was like, okay, well, you're not going to tell me I need 3 months. I can do it in 3 days. Boom. I did that, and then I ended up working with another choreographer who was very big at the time. Somebody just made a phone call and was like, hey, KIIRA's in town, you should call her. He called me. I did a video for him, and then the video got released the day I was leaving. That evening, I went to a bar, and I saw some girls that I know that dance with B, or a few other people, and I saw them. They're like, girl, what you doing here? I was like, oh, what you doing here? And that was it. I went home, packed my bag, was late to the airport, so I just threw stuff in the bag, got to the airport, got on the plane, and when I sat down in my seat, my phone rang, and one of the girls from the bar called me. Was like, where are you? And I was like, on the plane. I told you I was going home. She's like, get off the plane.
Get off the plane? What?
It's like, what do you mean get off the plane? And she's like, get off the plane. I said, you need to tell me why I'm getting off the plane. I just sat down in the seat. The people are boarding. They're about to shut the door. She's like, they want to see you in rehearsal tomorrow. I said, they who? What are you talking about? Beyonce. I was like, get out of here. What do you mean? She's like, get off the plane.
I mean, get off the plane, girl.
So my friend who I was with was like, you need to get off the plane. So I flagged down the stewardess. I was like, hey, I know you guys just shut the door, but if I needed to get off the plane, what do I have to say to you to get off this plane? She was like, well, how much of an emergency is it? I was like, I'm not even gonna lie, I just booked Beyonce. And she was like, oh my God! And she like starts screaming, and she's like, I saw what bag you had, just run, get off. I'll tell them to open the door. She got my carry-on. I had my carry-on, my suitcases flew back to New York, and I was standing in the airport by myself, like, what did I just do? And I had called my cousin. I literally had like maybe $40 in my account. I had no money, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I was there. And then my cousin came pick me up, dropped me off at the girls' hotel room. She kind of taught me the dance it was for Super Bowl 50 formation. She was kind of teaching it to me, but I had no music. I had no idea what was happening. I was just learning steps. I came in the room the next day. They said, okay, get on the floor. Boss lady walks in. She looks me up and down. How you doing? They said, okay, figure it out. I got to watch it one time. Then they just threw me in someone's random spot. So I just had to know where that person went. There was 30 of them. So I had to learn 30 spots in one take and figure out how. I did it. And they never said anything to me for 2 weeks.
Man.
I was just going to rehearsals. I had no idea what was going on. I just kept going. I was staying in my friend's hotel room with her, sleeping in the bed. I had nowhere to go. I had no money, nothing. I was just going to rehearsal. And then 2 weeks later, I got my booking paperwork. I did Super Bowl. I got all my per diem. I was making money. Super Bowl ended, and I was like, if I could come here and book a job in 3 days, the job in 3 days.
That was the job.
What would happen if I stayed? So I just called my friend and was like, hey, can I crash on your couch? He was like, yeah, how long? I was like, maybe like 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into 2 months. I just stayed. Then I ended up booking some stuff back in New York. So I went back to New York. I booked like 4 jobs back to back. I ended up getting a national commercial, which is big money. And I was like, I think I'm gonna leave. And I bought a ticket on June 13th, 2016. My flight was June 15th, 2016. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know where I was gonna live. I just know I was going.
You just did it, yeah.
Yeah, I got to the airport, called my friend, and she was like, yeah, stay on my couch. She let me stay for 2 weeks, and I went to my cousin's house. I stayed for like a month at his house, and then he was like, you gotta get out. And I just found an apartment, literally like on Facebook, just found an apartment, and I've just been here ever since. I never chose to move. I just came.
Okay.
And LA kind of just
took you in.
Yeah.
That's cool. You know, as a business owner and somebody who always wanted to instill that idea and everybody that was with New Face, I wanted to talk to you about your business and just let people know what you're doing. How you took it to a different level with the stilettos and heels and.
Well, I teach heels classes. Teaching has always been something that I've loved to do, and I have been teaching heels since 2013 in New York.
Right.
And I was just doing it on my own. I was never picked up or given a faculty slot anywhere. I was just like, I know I have something to share, and I'm gonna fill the void that's needed.
Right.
I feel like as a business owner, that's your job. You have to find out what it is that you have that's valuable, and then fill the void for the people that need it. And then you have to find a way to do it where you're not losing.
Yeah.
In the process. So when I came to LA, I was missing teaching, so I just started teaching on my own, and I just kept putting videos out. And I never put videos out to actually be like, I want people to see. It was just, that's just my version of sharing my art, you know? And then people in LA just started picking me up. People were like, who are you? And I want you to sell my classes. And then I went from not teaching at the top three famous schools to having my own slots within a year and a half. So now I have, my brand is Simply Stiletto by KIIRA HARPER. I teach internationally, workshops where I'll teach girls how to dance in heels, their foundation, but then also the flip side of it, which is the human part, just how to maintain in the industry, how to maintain your sanity and your mental health in the industry, and not letting the industry kind of take you over and take you down. Because the industry is a monster, especially in LA. So Simply Stiletto is based off that. We're just starting our tour, so I'm doing a 4-hour workshop tour every weekend for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then that's the first leg, and then we have another leg in the fall, which is an 8-week leg.
Cool.
But it's just kind of changing everyone's life one dance step at a time.
That's great. For somebody who's trying to start a business, what would you want to tell them? What message would you want to let them know? Like they have an idea, they want to do something. It's like
start.
Yeah, just start it up, right?
You have to start. Like even if a lot of times people think that you have to start and have the perfect idea. It's not always. It doesn't always work that way. The success comes with the failure, but you have to be able to deal with the failure and see it as falling up and not falling back. So I think a lot of times people think failure is like falling flat on your face. It's only a fall flat on your face if you stop after you fail. If you fail and you're wrong, it's just a trip. You tripped. Whatever. Okay, you stumble sometimes, but now you know which way to walk and go to navigate yourself toward your success. You know what I'm saying? So I really believe that if you're gonna start a business, just understand that it's important to know that it's okay to fail, but you have to start and keep moving forward in the process. Nothing comes overnight. Everything comes with a fight. Everything comes with a fight. It's never just fine and dandy. I think the the world today thinks that everything is so easy because you have this thing called Instagram and social media that is literally everybody's highlight reel.
Right.
You never see the other part. You know what I mean? So it tricks people's mind into thinking, oh, they're just living the life, and you don't know what is going on behind closed doors. But then it makes you think that that's how life is supposed to be for you. And then you start looking at all the bad stuff that's happening to you, or the things that make you uncomfortable, and then it makes you scared into stepping into your purpose. So I think you have to know and believe in your purpose, and know and believe in why you're doing it, and then from there just keep moving forward. Don't worry about the people around you, don't worry about the products around you, just worry about what it is that you have and what the world needs that you have. And I think that's what makes a person successful. You know, I don't even feel like I'm super successful. I just think I'm fighting. You know? So, yeah, there's really no end game to success either. I think that's another thing people need to know. There's no end game. People think there is, but there's not. Because the minute you get where you think you want to be, there's always somewhere else you want to go. You know? But yeah.
So earlier, so I just wanted to ask you one more question, and we can you can go about your day. You know, you got things to do. Because you've been there, and you said that New Face helped you not want to run back home and not want to just be done with college. So what message do you have for a college freshman who's thinking about dropping out and just wants to be done with it? What can you deliver to that person?
Really focus on who you are first, and then look at what makes you happy. If you get to a point where you are completely unhappy and don't know what you need and feel like you're not getting what you need where you are, then I think it's a time for a change of scenery. But I don't think that it's necessary to stop the learning process. So even if the place that you are is not the place you want to be, find a new school to be at.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know it's the cliche answer to say, just keep fighting. But sometimes everyone's fight is not the same. And I'm a firm believer of that, because the way I deal with some of my issues is not the same way somebody else will.
Right.
So I think that for someone who's thinking about dropping out is not the answer, but maybe relocating is.
Okay.
I think for me that was one of my things. Like, I may not have wanted to be at Hampton the whole time I was there, and finding New Face kind of helped me feel more comfortable. But when I wanted to leave, I was looking at other places to go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think
not dropping out, but just trying something else.
Maybe it's a relocation so that you can be more comfortable in your learning space.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe in quitting. I think quitting is a cop-out. And I think it shows weakness. And it makes it easy for you to quit every time after that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe in that, but I do believe in making sure that you pay attention to who you are, what makes you happy, and why it makes you happy, and then act accordingly from there. So the message to y'all is, don't be a quitter. Just relocate if you have to. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much, young lady.
Of course, love you.
Good about your day. Love you too. All right.
Yes.
Bye. Woo.